All right, so Rams fans, are you ready to dive into this quarterback quandary with Stafford? I mean, after that Super Bowl victory, everyone's wondering what's next.
Well, it all boils down to the big bucks.
Of course, the age-old question.
Exactly. And the Rams are in a real pickle here. They've got a Super Bowl champion on their hands, but he comes with a hefty price tag, especially at 37.
Let's not forget, Stafford's looking for a nice contract extension.
Oh yeah, he wants to stay among the top earners, and that means a raise of about $10 million a year, putting him up there with Prescott's $60 million.
That's a big leap from his current $40 million average.
It is, and even without the extension, his cat hit's going to skyrocket $49.7 million this season, and then a whopping $53.7 million next.
Now, hold on to your hats, folks, because if they decide to trade Stafford...
Oof, that's a hefty penalty, talking $45.3 million in 2025 and almost $23 million in 2026.
A real gut punch to their roster-building abilities.
You said it, but here's the kicker. McVay's made it clear he wants Stafford to stay.
Speaks volumes about the value they place on his experience. And hey, let's not dismiss Stafford's performance last season.
Not at all. He carried them to the playoffs with a 10-6 record.
Over 3,700 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, only 8 interceptions. He's still got it.
No doubt about it.
Now there's this little birdie chirping about Aaron Rodgers potentially being in the mix if Stafford exits.
That would shake things up in the NFC West.
Just imagine the possibilities.
A lot of ifs and buts at this point.
So the Rams, they're eager to keep their Super Bowl hero, but the financial reality is staring them right in the face.
It's a balancing act for sure. They want to stay competitive, but they can't just throw caution to the wind.
Could restructuring Stafford's contract be the answer? Or are they looking at a tough choice between their quarterback and their financial future?
That's the million-dollar question. What would you do if you were running the show?
A real head-scratcher with huge implications for the franchise.
You got that right.
Okay, so we've talked about the money, but can Stafford still play at a high level at 37?
Well, he led them to the playoffs last season, 10-6 record, not too shabby. Over 3,700 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, and only 8 interceptions.
Yeah, but is that enough to justify a top-tier contract? You know, quarterbacks take a beating.
It's a gamble. Look at Tom Brady. He was amazing, but he's a rare case. The Rams didn't bank on that.
True, they've got to think long-term. If they give Stafford a huge contract, it impacts the rest of the team.
Right. They might not be able to afford other key players or have depth at other positions.
And what about the effect on other quarterback? If Stafford gets a big contract at his age, it could set a new standard?
Exactly. Other veteran quarterbacks might demand similar deals, and that would make it even harder for teams to manage their salary caps.
So what options do the Rams have?
They could try to restructure Stafford's current contract, maybe spread out the cap hit.
But would that be enough?
Probably not. They could consider trading him, but we already talked about that massive penalty.
It's a tough situation. They want to keep their Super Bowl quarterback, but the money is a real issue.
They need to find a balance between winning now and building for the future.
Speaking of the future, what about that Aaron Rodgers rumor? Could he be an option if Stafford leaves?
It's interesting. Rodgers is a great player, but he can be a little unpredictable.
His personality, his contract demands, would he even want to play for the Rams? It's a risky move.
It could make them Super Bowl contenders, or it could be a disaster.
What do you think will happen?
It's hard to say, but this is a huge decision for the Rams.
Their choice will affect the whole team and maybe the entire league.
Rams fans are going to be watching closely, hoping for the best.
This whole situation with Stafford really highlights how one contract can send ripples throughout the league.
Yeah, it's easy to forget that the NFL is a business at the end of the day.
Absolutely. The Rams can't just focus on Stafford's talent. They have to factor in the financial impact, too.
Every decision has a price tag, and the choices they make now could affect them for years.
Exactly. It could limit their ability to bring in other players or make trades down the line.
Not to mention the impact on future contracts for other quarterbacks.
The Rams are a perfect example of the challenges every team faces.
Finding that balance between winning now and staying competitive in the long run.
In the end, they have to do what's best for the franchise.
It's a tough call, no easy answers.
But hey, that's what keeps us all on the edge of our seats, right?
Exactly. It's a game of strategy both on and off the field.
And the Rams are at a crossroads. Their next move could define their future.
This story's far from over, Rams fans.
Stay tuned, folks. The offseason is just heating up, and we'll be here to break down every development.
You know, it's so buckle up because this cornerback saga is going to be a wild ride.
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
Always a pleasure.